All right, on to the next air house. So this modality and quality, this is one of the cardinal houses / signs. So this house is associated with the sign Libra. Libra is one of the cardinal signs, and by cardinal it means that this is a sign that's considered an initiator, and they're supposed to be active and quick. However, with Libra, I would not say Libra is a quick sign. I think they may be active, and if you run into a Libra who is ambitious or wants to get something done, you can definitely find those. But I wouldn't necessarily call them quick. I think if you run into a Libra who is quick, they may have a faster sign in their chart, such as maybe Gemini or Aries. But that aside, Libra is considered to be a cardinal, active, initiator type sign. And so what house is associated with Libra? That house is none other than the 7th house. The 7th house. Just a note, because the chart is in a circle, every house is directly across from another house. Sometimes when you do your research, you'll probably see that the 7th house is often considered the descendant house, or descendant of the cusp. And by that, they mean it's directly opposite to the ascendant, which is usually in the 1st house. So 1st is directly across from 7th. The ascendant is directly across from the descendant. So sometimes you may find, usually I would say quite a bit of the time, you'll see the descendant is in the 7th house. Not necessarily always, but a lot of times. So what does the 7th house represent? Well, if you saw or you heard the podcast for fire houses, when I mentioned the 1st house, which is associated with the sign Aries, and I talked about what the 1st house is about. The 1st house is about self. Anything from your face, your personality, your body, like things related specifically to you yourself, your persona. It's about how you want to present yourself to the world. Well, the 7th house, remember, is opposite the 1st house. So it would have to have an opposite meaning, right? Right. So while the 1st house is about you, the 7th house is about others. And so by others, that means other people in your environment. This house is most closely associated with, and you'll probably hear it said to be mostly about marriage partner. So yeah, this 7th house is about the house of marriage. It is the house of marriage. It can describe your mate, your marriage partner. If you are married, or if you would like to be married someday, it can say something about who that person would be, the type of person you probably like or most likely to run into that could become a potential marital partner. But besides that, the 7th house represents partnerships in general. And partnerships exist in several different ways. I'll give you an example. I didn't do this chart this season. I do intend to do it in the future. But there is a chart of a very wealthy person. And as I looked at their chart to analyze like how they became who they became and things about them, one thing I noticed is that their 7th house was pretty active in their birth chart. They had a few planets in their 7th house. They also have a few planets in another house too, but we'll get to that later. But they have quite a few planets in their 7th house. And so there's some strong activity in terms of major configuration in their chart in general. And so what I concluded when I initially looked at their chart was that they built a lot of their wealth on partnerships. So when you're looking at your 7th house, yes, it is the house of marriage. And for those that are interested in that, absolutely, you can analyze it for that. But sometimes the 7th house is not just about that. Sometimes the 7th house is just about relationships and partnerships in general. Perhaps those that could become financially beneficial to you. And sometimes that can be a marital partner. If that's the case, your chart should explain that as well. But that's just another way of looking at this 7th house. It's about partnerships. It's about relationships. It's about collaborating with other people. Remember, this is the house that's opposite of the 1st house. So the 1st house is all about you. 7th house is not about you. It's about other people and how you relate to other people.